want to give you some tips today for learning numbers in a second language. First of all, I want to introduce the concept of a numeric base to counting, because this can be really helpful when you're learning numbers in another language. Now, a base basically just means how high do you count before you go back and repeat. So in English, just think, if we're at 30, then we go 31, 32, 33, all the way up to 39, and then flip back to 40, 41, 42, 43. And so every 10 we go back and repeat. Now, a lot of languages do that. Probably because we have 10 fingers and 10 toes. So a lot of languages use that kind of base 10 system, but not every language does. So some languages use base 5. And so you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 5 plus 1, 5 plus 2, 5 plus 3, and so on and so forth from there. Some languages use base 20. You think about, 10 fingers and 10 toes. You count all the way up to all the fingers, all your toes, and then that's when the system kind of flips over and repeats. So pay attention, I would say. That'd be my first tip, is to see, does your language use a base 10 counting system? And how do they combine things higher on? Is it like, to say 20, is there a special word for 20, like in English? Or do you say, like, maybe 2 tens? That's another way that some languages do it. So spending a little bit of time kind of analyzing the number system can really help. Beyond that, I just would encourage you to do lots of practice and try to bring numbers into your life as much as possible. So that could be with flashcards, it could be with kind of labeling things in your life. It could be with kind of flashcards on your phone, kind of using a flashcard memory app, as well as just looking for numbers in your daily life. Just lean into being a kid. Think about how little kids and their parents often just count everything. It's like you see 3 dogs at a park and you stop and you count. Look, how many dogs are there? There's 1, 2, 3. You can do that too. So a great way to do this would be if you're going on a walk, look at house numbers and then just say the number in your head or out loud, 160 or 178. As you get more advanced, you can jump up to kind of more advanced numbers where maybe instead of just each digit, maybe you're saying 178, or maybe you're practicing 17 and 78, just kind of practicing with part of the number. Steps can be another great way to practice. Just count as you're going up and down steps. And then once you start to get where you can count, then start mixing it up and skip count. Count every 2, every 3. Count backwards down by 2s. Count backwards down by 3s. The goal here isn't just to be able to kind of recite the list of numbers. It's to really internalize these new words as numbers, so that when you think of 5 of something, you don't have to count all the way up to 5. And practicing counting backwards and in other combinations can really help you lock in kind of the number terms as kind of a part of your mental repertoire, rather than just thinking of 5 as the number between 4 and 6. Let's see, so some other tips. Look at games. A lot of games use numbers. See if you can find some native speakers or other language learners to play games that use numbers, and then just really lean into saying those numbers. Like maybe you play a dice game like Yahtzee, or maybe you play Monopoly with the rule that every time you have to pay a fine, you have to say the number in the new language. You could even do this with people learning other languages and just have rules for everybody has to say the number in their own language. Another great thing to do while practicing numbers is to practice with the currency. If it's a new currency that you're not as familiar with, practice with that new currency. Get used to, how much should I expect to pay for a meal versus how much should I expect to pay for a taxi ride? Get used to handling the money. Get used to using the numbers together with the money. Now, incidentally, looking at money can give you a hint towards which numbers you need to practice. In a lot of contexts, you might think, I don't have any need for any number above 100. But if a meal costs 3,000 of that particular currency, then you might need to learn thousands and 10,000s and some of those higher numbers, just depending on what numbers you're going to need to use in daily life. And then just practice. Like maybe there's markets that you can go to and that you can negotiate using kind of your newfound numerical skill. I would just encourage you to learn numbers in a new language. First of all, I had to just spend a little bit of time trying to find patterns in the number system. That can really help you. And then just look for opportunities to use numbers in, kind of just incorporate those new numbers into your life as much as possible. Whenever you have to count something, or anytime that you can come up with an excuse to maybe count something, use those new numbers, and I think you'll be really surprised at the progress you can make.